Jason Tatum. You know what? There are certain guys that you can live with beating you.
Imagine the NBA court glowing under bright arena lights, millions of fans glued to their screens, believing every shot and whistle is pure competition. Now imagine documents quietly exchanged behind closed doors, late-night emails marked confidential, and a web of insiders working to keep the truth sealed. This is not a fan's rumor. It is a trail of data, insider leaks, and unexplained patterns that point to something the league would rather you never see. It all began with a handful of observant fans who noticed that certain playoff games defied logic. Referees who had been absent for months were suddenly assigned to pivotal matchups. Betting lines swung in strange ways minutes before tip-off, and injury updates appeared deliberately vague. At first, these anomalies were dismissed as coincidence. But when leaked analytics memos surfaced showing the NBA itself had flagged integrity risks, the whispers turned into a storm. Basketball is more than a sport. It's a global business worth billions of dollars. Image is everything, and with billions at stake, keeping unpleasant truths out of the spotlight can become an obsession. Tonight we dive into how a few persistent fans uncovered a story that challenges the league's reputation and forces us to ask how far an organization will go to protect its empire. Cracks in the foundation. The first cracks appeared small: odd referee assignments, sudden schedule reshuffles, and betting patterns that baffled professional oddsmakers. A dedicated group of data-driven supporters began cataloging every anomaly. They created spreadsheets detailing referee histories, foul differentials, and how calls changed when certain teams played in primetime slots. Games featuring high-profile stars coincidentally attracted referees whose past decisions heavily favored marquee franchises. Some matches showed last-minute point spread changes just before tip-off, suggesting inside information leaked to betting markets. These were not isolated incidents. Independent statisticians confirmed that the odds of these coincidences happening naturally were vanishingly small. The fans who first raised the alarm were not conspiracy seekers. They were analysts, coders, and season ticket holders with a love for the game. Their meticulous work began circulating on niche sports forums, catching the eye of investigative journalists and even former league employees. A hidden truth was beginning to surface, following the money trail. Whenever billions of dollars are involved, motives sharpen. The NBA's revenue from broadcasting deals and sponsorships is astronomical. Every playoff series, every marquee matchup, translates into advertising windfalls. Investigators digging through publicly available financial filings discovered a troubling overlap. The games with the most questionable calls also produced the largest spikes in ad revenue. Leaked emails, later verified by multiple outlets, revealed internal conversations hinting at optimal outcomes for marquee events. While not an outright confession of game fixing, the language suggested subtle influences, such as favorable scheduling or referee assignments designed to maximize ratings. Sports economists explained that even small nudges, an extra call here, a lenient foul there, could shift millions of dollars in betting and advertising. The league's official line remained that coincidences happen in a fast, high-pressure sport. But as the financial connections piled up, the argument grew thin. For many fans, this was no longer about isolated games. It was about systemic incentives that threatened the very integrity of the sport. Hidden injuries and player health risks. While fans analyzed referees and betting lines, another story quietly unfolded in team locker rooms. Several former medical staff members spoke off the record about pressure to keep stars on the court regardless of long-term health consequences. Anonymous sources described incidents where chronic injuries were downplayed or omitted from official reports to ensure key players appeared in nationally televised games. A few investigative journalists obtained internal medical memos showing that rest recommendations were sometimes overridden by executives who feared TV ratings would drop if star athletes sat out. One former team physician stated, "Primetime appearances mattered more than proper recovery." Players themselves hinted at similar concerns, with cryptic social media posts referencing being told to suit up no matter what. For a league that markets its athletes as larger-than-life icons, these revelations were alarming. If the pursuit of ratings outweighed player safety, it meant the NBA's commitment to integrity and athlete well-being was compromised at the deepest level. The fan-led investigation that changed everything. Perhaps the most inspiring part of this story is that everyday fans forced it into the light. Using open-source tools, they built massive databases. Others filed public records requests for arena security logs and municipal contracts to cross-check scheduling quirks. Their findings spread like wildfire across social media, gathering thousands of reposts and catching the attention of mainstream sports networks. Soon, respected investigative journalists joined the effort, corroborating key elements and publishing their own exposés. The league could no longer dismiss these concerns as fringe speculation. What began as a handful of curious supporters transformed into a crowdsourced investigation that outpaced traditional media. It showed that with determination, data literacy, and community effort, ordinary people could challenge one of the most powerful sports organizations in the world and win. League response in the fight for transparency, faced with mounting evidence and relentless public pressure, the NBA finally acted. An integrity review was announced, couched in corporate language about protecting the game. While the statement promised transparency, insiders reported frantic behind-the-scenes meetings with sponsors and broadcasters to contain financial fallout. The league introduced new policies requiring earlier disclosure of referee assignments and more detailed injury reporting. Yet critics argued these measures were more about optics than real reform. Without independent oversight, fans feared the changes would merely quiet the outrage until the next scandal. Sponsors demanded assurances, and several hinted privately that they might reconsider partnerships if trust in the league continued to erode. The NBA stood at a crossroads. Embrace genuine transparency or risk losing the faith of its global fan base. The decision, many argued, would determine not just the league's reputation, but the future of professional basketball's credibility. Now the question is, what do we, the fans, do with this knowledge? The NBA would like nothing more than for this to fade into last season's news cycle, but the internet remembers, and so do millions of passionate supporters. If you believe the sport you love deserves honesty, your voice matters more than ever. Share this video with fellow fans and comment below on the reforms you think are essential. Independent oversight, stricter gambling regulations, or even a fan-driven watchdog group. Your discussion keeps the pressure on those who might otherwise return to business as usual. And if you want to stay ahead of stories the big networks overlook, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. We will keep following the money, the data, and the truth wherever it leads. Basketball is beautiful because it belongs to all of us. Protecting that beauty is our collective responsibility. The league may hold the spotlight, but the ball is, and always will be, in our court.